Good morning, children. Let us continue this lesson. The enemy. You are aware that the main character is Dr. Sadao. And Dr. Sadao is carrying out surgery on this American soldier who is his enemy. And he thinks that there was no obvious reason for him to make efforts and to save this man's life. So when he's thinking about this unconsciously, this thought has made him ruthless, very cruel, and he proceeded swiftly. So he started continuing his work very quickly. And this man started moaning. In his dream, the man moaned, but Sadao has paid no heed, no attention, except he was muttering, he was saying something at him. So here, Dr. Sadao is in dilemma, whether to save this man, and what this man was doing, he was moaning. It was quite painful. Groan if you like. So there's a kind of hatred. It's not that he really wants to save, but there's no other way out because he's a doctor. And he's a very humanitarian. Out of that feeling, he's trying to save him. But as a patriot, he hates him. He's his enemy. I'm not doing this for my own pleasure. In fact, I don't know why I'm doing it. So he's not aware why is he doing it. But he's trying to save the life of this man who was his enemy. And when the door opens, who was there? Standing there? There was Hannah, his wife. Where's the anesthetic? She asked in a clear voice. And she had gone out, because she was not able to control herself and she was feeling like vomiting. So she had gone out and she had vomited. Sadao motioned with his chin. It's as well that you came back. Good that you have come back. This fellow has started moving, is beginning to stir. And what she had in her hand, there was a bottle and there was cotton. But how shall I do it? Simply saturate the cotton. What you have to do? You have to soak the cotton with that solution and hold it near his nostrils. So you have to hold it near the nostrils, near the nose. Sadao replied without delaying for one moment. The intricate detail of his work, so very complicated work that he was carrying out. And when he breathes badly, move it away. So when he is not able to control himself, then you move it. So what has happened there? Anna has entered and then she asks about the anesthetic. Now anesthesia is given to make the patient unconscious so that you would not suffer when the operation is carrying out. So it was very important to sedate because he was about to gain consciousness. And she had held the bottle and some cotton in her hand. And she asked what she was supposed to do. And he has told her to saturate the cotton and hold it near the nose. Now here she crouched close to the sleeping face of the young American. It was a piteously thin face, she thought, and the lips were twisted. The man was suffering, whether he knew it or not. So he was suffering a lot. Watching him, she wondered if the stories they heard something of the sufferings of prisoners were true. So she started suddenly thinking about the kind of sufferings of prisoners that she had heard. They came like flickers of rumor told by word of mouth and always contradicted. So they came like, in small pieces like rumors. And she had heard from someone, hearsay. In the newspapers, the reports were always that wherever the Japanese armies went, the people received them gladly with cries of joy at their liberation. But sometimes she remembered such men as General Takima, who at home beat his wife cruelly. So she also heard the stories of officers like Takima, General Takima, who had beat his wife cruelly, though no one mentioned it now that he had fought so victorious a battle in Manchuria. So everybody remembered how brave was General Takima. They forgot about what he had done at home. Domestic violence, they forgot about all that. And they could remember how he won the battle in Manchuria. If a man like that could be so cruel to a woman, would he not be cruel to one like this? So will he not be cruel to the soldiers? Will he not be cruel to the enemy? So she thinks over that. Probably the torture this prisoner of war suffered, she is thinking about that. She hoped anxiously that this young man had not been tortured. So probably she thought, probably he might not have been tortured, but at this particular moment, what she had observed? She has observed red scars on his neck. So she has observed the marks that are there on his neck, just under the ear, and she comes to know that this prisoner of war, this soldier also had suffered. So he was tortured by Japanese army. Those scars, she murmured. And she wanted to point out, probably he underwent the torture at the hands of Japanese soldiers, but he didn't answer. At this moment he felt the tip of his instrument strike against something hard. So suddenly now he is feeling that something, he has got it now, something very hard, dangerously near the kidney. So something hard he has found. Was it the bullet? And now he is totally engrossed in his work. All thought left him. He stopped thinking about anything else. Now he is thinking about what is that hard part that he could find. He felt only the purest pleasure. And here he feels that pleasure. Why he feels that pleasure? What he was trying to do. He was trying to find the bullet, and now he could feel that probably that was the bullet. He probed with his fingers and he tried to find out with his fingers delicately, familiar with every atom of this human body. So he was so well versed, he was such an expert, he was such a doctor, committed doctor, that he knew everything about human body. He knew everything about anatomy. His old American professor of anatomy had seen to that knowledge. So the kind of knowledge he possessed. So he was thorough with the knowledge of anatomy. And he knew each part of this human body, each piece, each atom. So he knew everything. So where is the kidney? What is there near the kidney? He knew everything. Ignorance of the human body is a surgeon's cardinal sin, sirs. So he is to tell that ignorance of the human body, that is the basic sin, cardinal sin, fundamental sin of the surgeon. A surgeon must know about the human body thoroughly. So you should know each and every part of the human body. That is very important. He had thundered at his classes year after year. To operate without as complete knowledge of the body as if you had made it. Our body is very complex. There are so many veins, and this surgeon has to be aware of all that. The nerves, so he has to be very careful when he is carrying out the operation. Anything less than that is a murder. So if you happen to cut something else, any nerve, So nothing but murder. It can be deadly. It can paralyze the body. So that's why the professor says that if ignorance is there about the human body to the surgeon, that's a basic sin of the surgeon. It is not quite at the kidney, my friend Sadao murmured. So he's talking to whom? He's talking to himself actually. So it's not quite at the kidney. So it is not that kidney is damaged. It was his habit to murmur to the patient when he forgot himself in an operation. My friend, he always called his patients, and he has forgotten that this patient was his enemy. Though he was talking to his patient and he was calling him as a friend, he was really his enemy because he was American and the doctor was Japanese. And it was a time when both these countries, Japan and America, were at war. Then quickly, with the cleanest and most precise of incisions cuts. So the precise cut, the cleanest cut. And what was out? The bullet was out. So he was shot. The man quivered, the man shook, but he was still unconscious. Nevertheless, even then, he muttered a few English words, though he was unconscious. He uttered few words. And what did he say? Guts. It's a courage, man. He muttered, choking. They got. So what they faced, it's my guts. It's my daring. It's my courage that they had to face. So he was a very gutsy soldier. Sadao, Hana cried. Shh. So he told her to keep quiet. The man sank again into silence so profound. Probably the man was suffering. The man again went into silence. Very deep silence. Profound, deep. That Sadao took up his wrist, hating the touch of it. Yes, there was still a pulse so faint, and the pulse he could feel, it was faint, it was weak, feeble. But enough. If he wanted the man to live, to give hope, so this man, though his pulse was very weak, he would survive. But certainly I don't want this man to live, he thought. I don't want him to live. He is an enemy. He is American. And he told Hana, no more anesthetic. Why it is not required? Because the bullet was removed. The operation was over. And the man had become unconscious. He turned as swiftly as though he had never paused, and from its medicines he chose a small vial. So what he has removed there? He has removed a vial, and from it filled a hypodermic. So injection. So small container there, and then injection, small container containing some medicine, and then he has filled that. And then injection is ready now, thrust it into the patient's left arm. Then putting down the needle, he took the man's wrist again. The pulse under his fingers fluttered once or twice and then grew stronger. So the faint pulse, now the bullet was removed. So he was becoming normal, he was becoming all right. This man will live in spite of all. He said to Hana, he doesn't want him to live. He doesn't want him to survive. But despite all that, he was a doctor. Since he had to do his duty, he had to rescue his patient. And now this man, he felt, would survive. What will Dr. Sadao and his wife do with the man? Now what will they do with this man? This man is going to survive. What they are going to do? That is the question. Think over this question. The young man woke, so weak, his blue eyes so terrified when he perceived where he was. So those who were around, they were all Japanese. Hana felt compelled to apologize. She wanted to apologize, to say sorry. She felt like she herself served him, for none of the servants would enter the room. She herself served. So the service she had to do. When she came in the first time, she saw him summon his small strength to be prepared for some fearful thing. So he gathered his strength, he summoned his strength, and now when he has faced the Japanese, he has escaped from the Japanese army. But now the people who were around him, they were the Japanese. He was washed ashore on the Japanese coast. So now he is worried. Don't be afraid, she begged him. So she said, you need not worry. How come you speak English? And he's very shocked. He gasped. So he's quite shocked and he's wondering how they could speak English. I was a long time in America. I had been in America. Hana was in America. Dr. Sadao was in America. And Hana replies, I was for a long time in America. She saw that he wanted to reply to that, but he could not. And so she knelt. So she has bent down, fed him gently from the porcelain spoon. So he was not able to take from the spoon. So that's why she started feeding him. He ate unwillingly, but still ate. Now you will soon be strong. He had starved for many days, not liking him, and ate mood to discomfort him. He didn't answer. When Sadao came in the third day after the operation, so third day, Sadao comes there, and he found the young man sitting up. His face bloodless with the effort. So now his face was bloodless, so it was quite cleaned. And lie down. So he says, you lie down because the operation was performed on him. Do you want to die? You lie down. So he was very much worried about this man, and that is quite clear. And he had successfully carried out the operation. He forced the man down gently and strongly and examined the wound. So he checks, how is the wound? You may kill yourself if you do this sort of thing. If you start getting up, definitely you would kill yourselves. He scolded, what are you going to do with me? This boy uttered, now he's worried about his life. He looked just now barely 17. So he was quite young man. Are you going to hand me over? So he's a bit worried over that, whether he'll be handed over to the Japanese police. For a moment, Sadao did not answer. He finished his examination and then pulled the silk quilt over the man. So he just checked, and then after that, he has pulled that covering, that quilt over him. I do not know myself what I shall do with you. So he is also in dilemma, he doesn't know. And he reveals that to this man, that I really don't know what I will do. I ought, of course, to give you to the police. I'm supposed to give it to the police. I should do that. I'm supposed to do that. You are a prisoner of war. Do not tell me anything, but you don't tell me anything. You are a prisoner of war. I'm supposed to hand you over to the police. He put up his hand as he saw the young man was about to speak. He wanted to speak something. Do not even tell me your name unless I ask it. Till I ask, don't tell me your name. Dr. Sadao says, they looked at each other for a moment. And then the young man closed his eyes, turned his face to the wall. Now here you see, this young man is facing the trouble now. This doctor has saved him, and he tells him that I'm supposed to hand you to the Japanese police. I'm not supposed to keep you in the house because you are prisoner of war. So naturally, he'll be worried a lot. And he says, I really don't know what is to be done. Outside the door, Hana was waiting for Sadao. He saw at once that she was in trouble. So there was some problem with Hana. And what is that problem? Now what is that problem? Let's see. The servants, they are agitating. They are in agitating mood now. Sadao. So she tells her husband, Yumi tells me the servants feel they cannot stay if we hide this man here anymore. If this man is here, then we'll not stay. Yumi has told, she tells me that they are saying that you and I were so long in America, So they were in America, and that is the reason they have started behaving that way. We have forgotten to think of our own country first. They think we like Americans. They like Americans, and that's why they have given shelter to the American. They have given shelter to the enemy. They are harboring the enemy. And then Sadao says, it's not true. We are patriots. Americans are our enemies. But I have been trained as a doctor. I have been trained not to let a man die. For me, he is a man. For me, he is a patient. If I can help, if I can rescue someone, if I can save someone's life, I have been trained for that. It's my duty as a doctor, and that's why I am treating this man who says, Dr. Sadao says, and he is trying to convince, he is trying to reveal, because here the servants are agitating, they don't want to remain there, and they are saying that since they're in America, that's why they like Americans, and that is the reason why they are behaving like a traitor. Thank you. Goodbye.